we must quickly turn now and discuss about the one everyone's talking about, Mr. or should we call him Master Suryavanshi? Uh,
Ha.
he's been phenomenal. I mean, we didn't we've been speaking about him and Matre in the same vein, and of course Matre from CSK showed what he's capable of yesterday with that 94. But I want to hear what you think of Suryavanshi. Given the fact that we saw something like this happen when Sachin was 16, and we all remember that Tom Alter interview that happened there, and then we all know what happened after that. What do you think about Suryavanshi, Prem?
It's interesting that you also brought up Ayush Matre's name along with Suryavanshi's because the two guys opened together in under 19 in 2024
Yeah,
in the
correct.
World Cup, and I think Ayush will still qualify for the U19 World Cup in 2026, the next one. So you're
Wow,
going to see
that's
Suryavanshi
scary.
and Matre opening again. Yeah, it's kind of like that time when you know. Anyway, uh, yeah, but see, this guy's name kind of kept coming on the radar because the first time I remember hearing his name was there is this 13-year-old boy playing for Bihar in Ranji Trophy. I was like, what the hell? Bihar must be really short of players to put a 13-year-old boy in a thing. And then there was that, if you remember, there was that knock he played against the Australia under 19s, some 50, 52, somewhere around 54, 55 balls, whatever. He scored a century. Then he had, remember that Vijay Hazare trophy where he
Yeah,
went after Mukesh Kumar in that some 26,
yeah,
30 runs, just blasted the guy
yeah. I
out.
read
And
about
from
that.
there, yeah, it's been the thing is, see, he's played Ranji Trophy, so it's not like he doesn't have a defense. So what interests me is I was watching him bat. Today's innings lasted for two balls. He hit one four and then got out the next ball. See, one of the things
Yeah,
he's doing is he's holding the bat in such a way that there is no possibility of a defensive shot. He's holding it like an axe. Normally, when you're holding the bat, you have that V at near the handle, right, which allows you to both play
correct.
along the ground and, if you want, you're going. This guy is holding it like this. So the only option is to whack. You can't
Right,
defend from
and
that
pull
position
mostly.
because you're. Yeah, and your hand goes completely ulta. No, it's almost impossible to defend. My first thought was, okay, this guy doesn't have a defense, which means that he can get into problems. And then I remembered that he's actually played Ranji Trophy. You can't play Ranji Trophy playing like this. So clearly he
True.
has a defense, but in IPL he's made a conscious decision that he's going to, hold the bat in such a way that he can just whack every single ball. And very clearly somebody has given him the permission to do that, telling him, look, I mean, go hit. नहीं मिला तो चलेगा.
Right,
But
Prem. But there's an interesting story. There's an interesting story that his coach Oja has mentioned. He said that while batting in the nets, he was just hitting sixes and fours, and the coach told him that you're gonna soon be playing 4-day games, and you got to take singles for that, and you got to rotate the strike. And very innocently, Vaibhav turns around to him and says that, but if I can hit a six of this ball, why would I bother about taking a single? And there was stunned silence amongst the coaches, and they were like, "Okay, what do you say about this? If he's saying that this ball, it's very much like what Sehwag was, that if I can
I
hit a
was
six,
just
why
saying,
will I waste my time, trying to go and Sehwag didn't really do too bad. He was career two triple hundreds in Test cricket. I don't think any Indians done that yet. So I thought that was phenomenal, and also the fact that he is. They say that he's a really quick learner. All he needs to be shown is once, and he picks it up. And there's a phenomenal story about how he's learned this whole pull that he has. I mean, if you saw his last the 100 that he made, he had almost seven sixes between square leg and mid wicket,
yeah.
and he's learned beautifully from the best. So he picks the pull of the front foot from Ricky Ponting, and he's got
Mm.
this the the he goes on the back to pull
Le-
like Dravid.
yeah.
So he's got the best in the world of these two greats, and he's actually seen a lot of videos of theirs, is what his coach said, that he's picked up from them. And easily when I was thinking, really, they are amongst the best pullers in the game. Of the back foot, Rahul Dravid would, there'd be few who'd be
Yeah.
able to match him. And, of the front foot, we've all seen how audacious
Ponting.
Ponting's
Yeah.
been through his career. That was really something. But do you think that could hurt him, Prem, that he's of a leg side game? I mean, he got almost like, I think 80% of his runs were on the leg side. Sixes and fours being most of them.
It it's not likely to. I was thinking of something funny from my school days. Before I learned to bat properly, I had this thing of pretty much every ball that came, I'd hit it to the leg. And S. Venkatraman was our coach at that time. So he kept trying to tell me that, the offside is also there and you have to score runs on the offside. And the next ball would come and I'd whack it again to the leg side. So when we had center wicket practice, one of those days, what Venkat did was he put most of the fielders on the leg side and said, "Let's see what happens now." And I kept hitting it to the leg, and I kept hitting it and hitting it safe. So finally, he came up to me and said, "Look, you play the game the way it comes to you, but in the long term, you're going to need these other shots also." So I mean, this is a suggestion. Normally, he doesn't make suggestions; he takes a stump and hits you to make sure that you understand. But this one time, I remember he very politely said, "This is a suggestion that you should also work on the offside game." And he started drilling me in, the cover drive and the off drive and stuff like that. But what I took away from there is some shots that when we are sitting outside, they look like high risk shots. And even today, he got out the same way, right? He was trying to hit to the leg side and he got, it didn't quite connect. He set it up in the air. These shots look very risky when we are sitting outside and watching, but they come naturally to the guy who's playing it. And you reference those
Exactly.
six sixes that he hit to the leg side in that pulling arc. All of them looked absolutely comfortable. He was not.
Yeah.
There was a top edge, but it went to deep fine. The shots that he played in that arc between square leg and mid wicket, they were all pukka cricketing shots. So I don't think that is going to be a problem. I don't think that instinctive pulling and hooking is going to be a problem for him. What I think is going to happen is that if you think like a bowler, you're saying, okay, this guy, if he gets anything short on middle and off to middle leg, he's going to go for the pull. So I'm not going to give him that. And then they'll start looking at bowling the off stump line, the third and fourth, in between the third and fourth stump line. They'll push the ball a little bit further, get him, see if he can drive. And that is when he'll have to recalibrate his game because you're not going to get too many shots. You mentioned Ricky Ponting, right? If you remember that famous
Right.
over not famous over, that famous spell, Ishant Sharma to Ricky Ponting, which is one of my
Oh, yeah.
cricketing highlights that I can't get out of my head. Ishant didn't give him a single ball to pull. He was like, let's see how good you are on the off and outside the off with the moving ball. And he kept beating him on that thing. Ricky Ponting kept trying to come forward and play to leg and failed. And that I
Right.
think is one of the things that will happen. And then Vaibhav Suryavanshi will have to find the answers for that. Okay, you
It's
bowl on the
funny
off.
you
This is what
mentioned
I'm going to
Ishant Sharma, Prem. It's funny you mentioned
do.
Ishant Sharma because you saw what Suryavanshi did to Ishant Sharma. I mean, if this was the Ishant
Seriously.
Sharma of 2008, this would have been an amazing contest to see. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's strange that you mentioned Ishant because he really got taken apart by uh, by Suryavanshi. In fact, there's an interesting story also about VVS Lakshman, who's had a big hand in Suryavanshi's rise through the ranks. Uh, yeah, I think he picked him for the quadrangular where there was an India A, India B,
Mm.
England, and Bangladesh playing because he was
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
well in the challengers. And one of the games he was bowled out. He got out cheaply for about 36 runs. And Suryavanshi in the end is 13. He was 13 at that time, and he was crying in the dressing room. And Lakshman came up to him, sat with him, and told him that don't worry about the runs. We are not looking just at the runs. We look at the skill set of a player, and you're going to go a long way. And coming from VVS Lakshman, I think that
Yeah.
would have really, really meant a lot and would have done wonders for him. And then VVS Lakshman suggested to Rahul. to take a look at him, and that's why
Yeah.
we're seeing this boy wearing the pink and doing all these wonderful things. But my only worry is that I hope there's not too much of a, I've seen Rahul Dravid getting too protective and trying to, make players wait too much. I think this boy is ready. There's a story that during COVID or even after that, this boy was like playing 400 balls every day just to get his technique right. I mean, that's phenomenal. Those are like this is matching the stories that we heard of Yuvraj Singh and how his father Yograj
Yeah.
built this net behind the house and got him to bowl in the middle of the night and anytime he felt that he needs to get something right. So I just hope that he goes the right way, because there is a little bit of an issue there, that you don't want this boy waiting and being benched too much. He should be out there
Yeah.
expressing himself and learning, because the next season is going to be the one there where we'll know whether Suryavanshi has it in him to be a great player, or was he just a good player in great form, because all the bowlers are going to study him this season. All the
Yeah.
statisticians, analysts will have their weaknesses, everything ready for him the next season that he comes. So how he does in the next season really will define what Suryavanshi is going to become.
No, even in the few remaining games, I'm almost certain sure that in pre-game, in the dressing room conversations, if Suryavanshi is, if you're playing against Suryavanshi, the coaches, the bowlers are going to be talking about, okay, nothing short, nothing on the stumps, nothing into the body. We keep it out of that hitting arc, and let's see if he has a thing. And they will have a deep cover or a deep extra cover for the sliced shot on the offside, and they'll test him out. But the funny thing is, I remember seeing a small clip on social media. What it was there were these little cones with a ball perched on top of each. So he had one
Yeah, I
just
saw.
outside the off stump, one in the middle, and one on the leg. And he wasn't hitting the ball. He was coming forward and stroking the ball. And what I saw
Yeah.
when I looked at that was he does have that skill. He knows how to come into line and play, with that perfectly vertical bat,
Yeah.
hitting through the line, throwing his hands. I think the way he is batting here is simply because as IPL, it is T20, and he's been told to maximize. Just hit. Don't worry about what happens afterwards. I
Yeah.
think he's got a better game than that. I don't think this is all he can do.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Because I think in the IPL and the T20 format, it's really about the big shots, and I think what he's really using is his bat speed, which is phenomenal, and also the fact that he gets his full arm extension. If you see, he really does it fully, and there is a theory that if you have a super backlift, the higher your backlift, the better you'll finish and the more power you can put into your shot. And I think that's what he's been implementing in this format. I mean, I'd really love to see him. I haven't really seen him play with the red ball yet, but it'd be interesting to see how he kind of recalibrates his game for that.
There are two players that he reminds me of, and this might seem like a huge stretch, but if you make allowance for the fact that this boy is in early stage career, this is the first time he's really facing, top flight competition outside of his age group. If you ignore all of that, and if you just look at technique and the feel he brings to the game, the two players he reminds me of, funnily enough, one is a left-hander, Brian Lara. The other is a right-hander, Harmanpreet Kaur. Both of them have that
Oh,
pickup is, it comes down, then it bounces up, and that high backlift and that skiting kind of uh, uh, you know the bat speed into the ball. It's all, I
yeah.
kept looking at him, and because I love watching Harmanpreet play when she is on song, and I love watching. I loved watching Brian Lara. Everybody did. And
Okay.
something about this ball, the way he picks up the bat and brings it down, is very reminiscent of those two players.